Lions fans, welcome back in. Stephen Will, Detroit Den 313, closing in on that 10K. Listen, I know you guys are probably sick of hearing it. I'm sick of saying it. 10K, we're doing a massive, massive giveaway. We got Hutchinson jerseys. We got gift cards. We got more gift cards. Might have another jersey. Like, find another podcast that does giveaways like Detroit Den 313. I challenge you to do that. All you got to do is hit that subscribe button. Takes half of a second or less. Will, what's on the menu today?
Listen, Brad Holmes is making sneaky moves, being the wheeler and dealer that he is, man. People want to give Brad Holmes a hard time, but I love what he did today. And be honest, I love what he's been doing in a world where everyone else in the NFL is overpaying for everything, just throwing money out the window, making it rain. Some might say Brad Holmes is keeping money in his pockets, man, so he can pay his big time ballers, man, like Kirby Joseph and Aiden Hutchinson and Brian Branches and Sam Laporta's, and the list goes on. I could go on for days because when we draft somebody, they're so good that we want to keep them and re-sign them to a second contract. So, Steve, that's pretty much what the table is today. So I don't know who you want to start with because there's a long list of dudes, man, but I think we should finish with the big one is all I'm going to say.
Who's the big one? We might have a difference of opinions in that. I guess we'll start with last night, William. I don't know. Does the Ford family just go to bed at 8:00 at night? Because I texted you last night with some news and I never got a response back that the Detroit Lions were signing Roy Lopez, defensive tackle from the Arizona Cardinals. And I was just like, I don't know. I guess that's not news breaking to you, Will. You just go to sleep when the Lions are bolstering up those trenches. How do you feel about Roy Lopez?
Listen, I watched roughly today 437 snaps of Roy Lopez today just to get a feel for him. I watched every single snap that he didn't line up at edge, and there was only like I think 16 or so that he lined up at edge. For some reason I didn't watch him, so I don't know why that is, because that's not what he is, because most of the time he's going to be at 0 or 1 technique. And I like what I saw. He's immediately going to be a rotational piece that doesn't get moved. He's going to be backing up DJ Reader, and he is a very, very hard human to move. Whether it's a double team, whether it's man on man, he's a problem, man, up front. I think of us getting into situations to where, 4th and inches against the Philadelphia Eagles, maybe to go to the Super Bowl. We got a tush push situation. Maybe Reader's out there. You know what I mean? Maybe Roy's out there. You know what I'm saying? Maybe we got to stop them, man. Maybe we got to take them and give them their lunch, man. I love the signing. I think it's sneaky good. How do you feel about it?
Can I be honest with you, William? Can I be completely honest? When I saw the news last night and I wanted to talk to my best friend, Will, and he was just sound asleep in a deep REM cycle, I just said, all right. What would William Clay Ford do in this position? I said he would get on and he would watch a little bit of film, watch some highlights. When I first saw the news, I wasn't over the moon. He was not a name that was even on my radar. I'll be honest, didn't really know who he was. Did a little research. I don't think he's a true football player, William. I don't think he's a true football player. Honest to God. I think he's the type of guy that likes to beat the shit out of people, and football is just the best place he can do it at. He's too big for hockey, so he's too big to get on skates. I'll tell you that. So I think he said, I can't get on the ice and play hockey. What's my next best option? It's not the NBA. It's not baseball. I guess I got to put football pads on and go out there and just manhandle some guys, because I absolutely loved what I saw. I see a guy in the trenches that's violent. And he's quick. He's quick for a big guy. I don't have his height and weight, but he was very disruptive in the Packers game. He was giving Jordan Love some hell. So I'm going to be honest with you. Didn't know who he was much at the end of the night yesterday. Today, I like that word sneaky. I like that word sneaky quite a bit, because you can't just look at his name. You can't just go to Google and look him up and see what his stats were, how many pressures. I don't give a shit about that. Sometimes you just got to turn on tape and see a guy who just likes to make other people not want to enjoy playing football anymore. And I think that's what Roy Lopez does here. And I'm going to call him Roy Jones. I don't know why, because of the boxer, I'm thinking he's going to put hands on people. So if I slip up and call him Roy Jones, that's where the mistake's coming from. So I think that this is a good signing, depth piece. Listen, he's not making the Pro Bowl. He's not going to be an All-Pro. Probably not going to end up in the Hall of Fame. But he's going to bring some attitude to this Detroit Lions defensive line. He's not going to be moved. He's going to play nasty, gritty Dan Campbell type of football. And that's what excites me, William.
So what I did before I went and watched tape on him, and this is something that I love to do, is I went and looked for interviews of people talking about him. And then I got an opportunity to see what fans were saying about him leaving, and fans weren't happy. And that's something that I always love, not because I'm enjoying tearing a player away from their fan base. I love it because it gives you a true evaluation of what that player means to the city that they're coming from. And a lot of people were saying, this is a guy that I thought that they were going to re-sign because he was trending in the right direction. This is a guy that we really wanted to have back. This is a guy that Dan Campbell is going to love. These are all things that I was hearing about him, and that was exciting me before I even watched the film. And then I was like, listen, got a little extra time on my hands. Let me just go watch every snap and get a feel for him. Man, I love it, man. Like I said, I love it. It's not, just like you said, it's not anything that most people are going to be excited about, but he's a guy who I think could be a long-term rotational piece and maybe even work his way up to a few seasons as a starter, man. Or if somebody goes down, step right in and help us not miss a beat. So again, Roy, excited to have you here in Detroit, man. If you catch the show, welcome. And if you want to come on, man, maybe we make some space on you. But Steve, who you got next, man?
Real quick, 6'2", 320 pounds. That dude's just a bowling ball. You're not going to move him. Let's go with some in-house guys. I think the other big news of the day, I think there's two big moves made today that the Detroit Lions are bringing back. And that's, I know your guy, Levi Onwuzurike. So I'll let you take the lead on that one. I know that's been your guy all off season. You've been beating your chest, wanting him to come back. So speak on it.
Yeah, period, man. Levi Onwuzurike. I am over the moon about signing Levi Onwuzurike. I seen a split online of people don't care. People say that Levi's trash, and some people that were excited. I feel like even I was in the minority of people that were excited about it. There's a lot of people that were just like, okay. Having a football player on the D line where we're begging for people in the trenches that can play from the 0 to the 5 is something that you should be over the moon about. Again, I'll say it again for the people in the back. Us retaining a football player who was playing great football. Has he been banged up in the past? He has. Is he coming off his best football season ever? He is. Do we have the best GM in football? We do. Because what did we do? We know, Levi, you've been historically banged up. Hey, go shop around, see if you can get a long-term deal somewhere. If you can't, come on back home to daddy. He'll take care of you. He'll give you a 1-year deal. And if you can take care of business again, like you took care of business this year, it's going to be great for you one way or another. Either we're going to find money to sign you and give you a couple of years because you'll only be 28 years old. We can still give you that 3-year deal. No big deal. Or, right, you go shop around and somebody else gives you that deal. There's plenty of D linemen that got overpaid for. This if you just look at the landscape of free agency, next year is going to be the same thing. If you ball out this year, either the Detroit Lions are going to pay you or somebody else is going to pay you. So it's a win-win for both of us. Brad Holmes, you're an absolute gangster. I salute you, right, for working this out because this is huge, man. He can fill any position that we need him. Hey, Aleem McNeil's down right now. Go play some DT for Aleem. We won't miss a beat. Hey, Aleem comes back. We want to have you go play that big boy defensive end. Hey, won't miss a beat. Go play some big boy defensive end. Hey, DJ Reader's got a hamstring. He's got to mix a couple of games. Hey, just fill his spot. This is a sneaky big deal. And if you don't think so, hey, I got to question your football acumen, man. Steve, school the people. Tell them that you feel great about it. Because if you don't, I'm going to have a hissy fit.
He's the Dan Skipper of the defensive side of the football. He's going to play a lot of different positions, mostly defensive line. Like we're not going to see him at linebacker or safety or quarter or anything crazy. Like let's not go down to the rabbit hole and start thinking he's going to be playing all 11 positions on defense. But he could play anywhere on the defensive line. What do the Detroit Lions need more than absolutely anything in the world this next season, this offseason? defensive line help. Okay. He's a piece. We bring in Roy Lopez. We bring in Levi Onwuzurike, bring him back to town. That's two pieces on your defensive line right there that you're pretty sure about. Now, do I think we need a little bit more, a tad bit more? Yes. Would I like to see as a Darius Smith? I would like to. If we don't bring back as a Darius Smith, I'll be a little hesitant because I think going into the draft now, with some stuff we'll talk about in a minute, I just want to see a little bit more added, whether that's today, tomorrow in free agency, or if we got to wait till the draft, that's fine. Bringing back pieces for this team that are familiar with our defense, can play multiple positions. I'd like to see Levi back, and I'm glad he's back. So I'm not over the moon. I know that this was your guy. I'll say I'm happy. I'm happy that he's back. I don't want to see defensive linemen walking out the door when I know that that's what we need. So I'm happy that Levi's back.
Yeah, Levi again, man. Say it again from Detroit Den 313. We welcome you back, man. And I'm cheering for you. I'm cheering for you to get that long-term deal, whether you get it from the Detroit Lions or you get it from another team, because watching you go through what you've gone through with your back, man, and fight it out to will your way back and to play the football that you were playing, because he was dominating in certain situations, man. And by dominating, I'm not talking about statistically. I'm talking about man versus man. I'm just more man than you. I'm going to bull rush you. I'm going to make you do things that you don't want to do. If you don't believe that, pull up the tape or go back to the Levi Onwuzurike show that we did, because we did a cut up of Levi Onwuzurike doing his thing, whether he was doing stunts, whether he was bull rushing. Well, hey, he even dropped back in the coverage one time. So what are we talking about? Levi's a dog, man. Again, salute you. But Steve, there's another sneaky good move that I absolutely love today. And when I saw it, it reminded me of a text message that I sent you a long time ago about the second best player ever to come out of Oklahoma State. None other than the Malcolm Rodriguez. I know he's not the second, but I'm just teasing. But I do like Malcolm Rodriguez a lot. We drafted Malcolm Rodriguez, and I was like, this dude's a dog. Yeah, this dude's a dog. And everybody's like, man, is it really that deep? You know, and I'm like, no, this dude can play some damn football or whatever. So we got one today, and Grant Stewart from the Colts that gave me a similar vibe. All right, so we got him. I'm not going to pretend like I knew exactly what he was. I remember hearing a little, I don't know if it was an E60 or something about him, man, when he came out of Fresno State, but just because he was Mr. Irrelevant, he got drafted by the Tampa Bay Bucks, man. It's Mr. Irrelevant. And they did a little story on it. It was nothing crazy or whatever. But then I started watching the film, Steve. Oh, baby. He plays downhill. This is a guy, and don't let me sell you. I love football, man. So when people do cool stuff, I get excited about it. So don't take it the wrong way and let me sell you like he's about to come in and be a Pro Bowler. He's about to come in and take a starting position. That's not what this is. But what this is a sneaky good move again by Brad Holmes. Finding him, it's another guy that most of Colts fans wanted back. This is another guy that is ascending in his abilities. This is a guy who you never know. Something could happen and he could step into a starting role later on down the road as he develops, because I love how he plays instinctually downhill and he's super aggressive. Now, he got one start last year. And Steve, in that start, he got busy against the Miami Dolphins. Hard work pays. He shines. 18 tackles. I'm going to say it again. I can't remember where it ranks, but it's one of the best tackling games that the Colts have had. Is somewhere in the top 3 or top 5 from a non-starter. He got it as an opportunity, and he made the most of his opportunity. Was balling. Everybody was talking about, is he about to start competing for a starting position? What's going to happen? Blah, 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 blah. He's an energy guy. He's a guy that is just going to be another one of those guys. That's a Dan Campbell guy. He'll fit right in with guys like Amik Robertson, the guys like DJ Reed that are just juiced up and ready to go. Brian Branch, Aiden Hutchinson, Alex Anzalone, those guys that are screaming and rah-rah guys. He's going to fit right in. I can't wait to see him and Sione Vaki on special teams. This is another sneaky, masterful move. Steve, how you feeling about a potential 18 tackle relief guy stepping in if he needs to for the Detroit Lions.
I'm disappointed in you, William. all the accolades. You couldn't mention that my man might have the best hair on the team. You couldn't just throw that out there that he might beat Alex Anzalone for the best hair on the Detroit Lions because he's got some flow. All right, like I'm truly jealous. All right, like that's the other thing you didn't cover. You covered everything else. You just couldn't give my man some props for his. I'm trying to get him like a Head and Shoulders Troy Polamalu type sponsorship, and you're just letting it go over there. Depth. All right, last year broke me to the core, William, watching this football team get tested at every level on defense with question marks. We lost Derek Barnes. We lost Malcolm Rodriguez. We lost Alex Anzalone for a little bit of time. We were kind of just scrapping and putting some guys in there that, we were kind of hoping would stick. I know we did an episode on David Long. We were hoping he could be the guy. I'm excited about him. All right. I'm excited to at least bring him into training camp and see what he can do. Now, are we going to keep 5 or 6 linebackers on this roster? I doubt it. I personally see him maybe being hopefully he makes the team, but if not, practice squad. I know it's way too early to start doing roster cuts or whatnot, but I don't know how we're going to keep all these guys on the team when Rodrigo comes back and we're all fully healthy. So at the very least, we don't have to worry about it. When someone gets hurt, throw him in there. Let him be the guy. So I like the signing. Just, maybe mention the next time that he has to use a lot of shampoo when he's in the shower, way more than I do.
Listen, here's what I'm going to tell you. 1, you don't need any shampoo. 2, put some respect on this man's name. He will not be on the practice squad. This dude is making the team, and this dude is going to be a contributor. I would hang my hat on that, man. At a minimum, he's going to be running around on special teams, flying around, impacting the game. I just look at him, man, as somebody that's going to fit right in with those guys, man, like Malcolm Rodriguez, Sione Vaki, Craig Reynolds, who again is another one, man. Craig Reynolds, re-signed Craig Reynolds, 1-year deal. He's back in Detroit, man, back in Motown for another year, man. So I'm excited about that, man. A guy who runs hard and he'll fit right in, and he's gonna impact special teams. So today has been a big day for the Detroit Lions. Sneaky big day. If you're not a football savant, for lack of better words, you're probably not looking at it like it's a huge day, but hopefully after this episode, we're breaking it down in a way that makes you understand how great of a day it was. But as great of a day as it was, there was some bad that happened today, Steve.
Yeah, I'm heartbroken.
There was some bad. Yeah, there was some bad. So today, we lost a dog, man. We lost a dog. We lost none other than Kevin Zeitler. And I got to be honest, Steve, I don't know how you feel about it, and I'm not just talking about losing Kevin Zeitler, who we lost him to, right? Who we lost him to. And it's no disrespect to the franchise, but they're not exactly on the path to winning a Super Bowl right now. So I'm just a little bit confused why you would sign a 1-year deal with a team that's probably not going to be contending for the Super Bowl when I'm quite sure there was an opportunity in the path. And maybe there was less money. Maybe it was less money here, but this is a dude that is 117 years old. I'm under the assumption that he's got his bag, right? He's been paid handsomely. He should have dollars. I'm a little disappointed that Kevin Zeitler didn't want to come chase a championship with the Detroit Lions. But again, these guys got to do what they got to do for their families and their pockets. So I'm not going to knock it too much. I just wish he would have remained a Detroit Lion. Steve, Kevin Zeitler, jetting out of town, Tennessee Titans, $9 million. How you feel?
Devastated. This was my guy I needed back. All right. I really wanted to bring back this whole offensive line. I wanted Mahogany to come in here and compete and try to beat out Glasgow for a starting job. He's got a starting job now. He'll be taking Zeitler's position, I would assume. I'm with you. When I saw the Titans, I was like, man, Zeitler, I don't know. Like, he came from the Ravens, and then, you got a deep playoff run there with them every year. And, you try to hop over to the Lions and win one there, and it doesn't work out. I thought he'd try to run it back to go to the worst team in the NFL. This tells me, I'm not trying to speak for Zeitler. Look, he was one of my favorite players I wanted last year. When we couldn't re-sign Jonah Jackson, I started trying to crunch numbers, seeing if it was even possible that we could get Kevin Zeitler, a guy at his caliber, all-pro, Pro Bowler every single year. I thought he was going to cost a lot of money. I think that was the episode we podcasted, and you were at the gym with the football team working out, and you had to take a break. Like, that's how excited we were about Zeitler. Mm-hmm. Going to the Titans, does it make sense for me for a career move? it makes sense, all the sense in the world, lots of sense, $9 million worth of sense to go out there and, maybe this is his ride off to the sunset with one last payday from the Titans. And, I don't see them making the playoffs. I don't see them even competing in the AFC South or the AFC in general. So I look at this as kind of like maybe his last check before retirement, because I know he was kind of probably thinking about it this season. So I thought he would retire, honestly. So if he didn't retire, I thought he'd run it back with us one more time. So the Titans is kind of a head scratcher for me, but no bad feelings toward the Zeitler family. I know his wife loved being here. She was very vocal about the city of Detroit and how great it was. So I'll be cheering for him. And luckily they're in the AFC, so we don't have to really worry about them, and we don't play them next year. But definitely a head scratcher. Definitely hurt me. I don't like to talk about my emotions in life, William. I definitely don't want to do it on Detroit Den 313, but I'm hurt inside. All right, this is the guy I wanted back. I think when we have Jared Goff, I've said it numerous times, that's the guy we got to protect. That's the guy we got to give a clean pocket to. He's not a playmaker with his legs. He has to have a dominant offensive line. Now that we've discussed all the players that we've added and lost today, I want to ask you something, William. Do you think that Brad Holmes has to address offensive line a little bit earlier in the draft than anticipated with the loss of Kevin Zeitler?
That is a great question, Steve. And
it's what great journalists do.
You know what I really think? Like, if I can just be honest, I think it's dirtbag season. That's what I think. That's what I think. It's dirtbag time, man. That's what I think. I think this is a guy who was sick and hurt all season and still showed glimpses of greatness. This is a guy who, before he got injured, was the number one guard about to come out and enter the NFL draft. This is a guy who's a heck of a football player, but because he's got freaking one leg longer than the other one, they want to pick on him, man. I mean, I think this is some type of discrimination. Like, you know what I mean? What is happening, right? Like, what is going on here? Christian Mahogany's a dog. He's going to get his opportunity this year. I don't think there's any need to panic and hurry up and draft somebody in the draft, because we have some other pieces that could pan out. There's some project pieces that are on this team that nobody is really talking about anymore. They've given up on Giovanni Manu. People have given up on him. Like, he's had season after season after season, and he's just garbage now. There's another guy that I'm going to get to in a minute, man. But Christian Mahogany, I think, can step right in and take care of business, man. Maybe we get a veteran to maybe keep him honest, but we still got guys like Coyote Awasika. Again, not the long-term path that we're probably going to go down, but we got band-aids to put on things. If we do get into a little bit of a situation, we got guys who can continuously help Christian Mahogany develop while he's here. I'm not worried one bit, man. So Christian Mahogany, dirtbag time, man, dirtbag season. I'm here for it. I'm excited for him to get an off season to prepare his body, go through a training camp, and roll right into this thing as the starting guard, man. I think my man Graham Glasgow better watch out, man, because he might be coming in to say, hey, man, I'm the best guard on this team. Because I've seen some moments. Now, I'm not going to say that he is yet, but I've seen some moments, man. So hopefully we can get some consistency out of him. I'm excited to see what he can do. I don't know if Brad will address it or not, man. Because, Steve, there's another guy on this team that nobody talks about him. Nobody talks about him. I never hear anybody talking about him. He's another sneaky. And Brad is just doing he's wheeling and dealing behind the scenes while people are just doing this. He's like, I don't know. I think I got a guy that can do that for a little bit cheaper, man. And you guys want to talk about dollar menu this, dollar menu that. I just think he's doing good business, man. So why spend money when you don't need to, man? I read a couple of books on finances, man, and becoming a millionaire and being wealthy and, making sure that you have a good retirement when you shut things down. And they all say wealthy people negotiate everything. Brad's negotiating every inch, man, and I'm proud of him for doing it. I think he's making this team better. And I think this will be another situation where Brad becomes the benchmark. Instead of following what everybody else is doing, he's going to be the path and a trendsetter for how to get it done. So now that I'm off my soapbox, Steve, there's a guy on this team that happens to play guard that was at the NFL draft in 2020. He was a guy that was rated as a day 2 pick. Right? They ended up going in the 6th round because he had some injuries. If this story doesn't scream Brad Holmes to you already, then you're probably not a true blue Detroit Lions fan. He loves these guys that are a little bit banged up, that have this much potential, right? But they have this much value in the open market. So when I think about this, man, this is who I'm talking about, right? All right. Let me make sure I'm not chopping his name. So Netani Moody, right? Netani Moody, 44 bench press reps, right? And I know what people are gonna say, man. Who the heck cares about bench press reps? Is that a reflection of what we see on the field? Let me tell you something. This dude is a strong MFer. This dude is a strong MFer. He's had some peaks, he's had some valleys, but when you talk about the run game, this dude moves people. He moves people. So he's just another piece. Am I saying that he's going to be the answer? No. But what I am saying is this: he's another piece. He's another guy who's a guy who was ranked as a round 2 guy who was just sitting in the back, chomping at the bit for his opportunity to get out there and show what he can do. All right. So for me, Steve, I think that Brad's doing it the right way. You got to get guys in here with great potential and take risks. What do they say? Scared money don't make no money. You know what I'm saying? So, hey, I'm excited for it. What you thinking?
That's why when I'm at the blackjack table, I put down $100, and if I make $7, I'm getting up and leaving because I made some money. I'm getting out of here. All right. I hope you're right, William. I really hope you're right. Listen, I know our offensive line needs to be top tier while we have Jared Goff back there. I know we need to invest in it heavily. I know it needs to be the most dominant unit on the Detroit Lions. When it comes to Christian Mahogany, I don't give a damn if his left testicle hangs down to his ankle and his right testicle is up in his stomach. I don't care anything about measurements on legs, the flu, the whatever he got, mono from making out with a girl. I don't care what he got with him. I care about what he does on Sundays, and I know he's a physical offensive lineman. We had him in our mock draft, both of us last year at the end of the year. We kind of had him in like the 3rd round, I believe. So when he fell to like the 5th or 6th round, something like that, we were like, this might be steal of the draft. I mean, he got sick, he was battling with some injuries, kind of got to play late in the year. So I like Mahogany. I think that Brad might have to address the offensive line somewhere in the draft, maybe a little earlier, maybe that round 3 pick, pick 102, somewhere in there. But I just got to keep this offensive line as absolutely dominating as possible. So if your guy from the Denver Broncos, the Rock's cousin, I already forgot his name. If he's a guy who could take over, I mean, I'll tell you this, William, 44 reps at the bench press, that's impressive. But if I see him at the gym eyeballing my 15-pound dumbbells, we're going to have a problem. Okay, so just just know that, because big trees fall the hardest, William. All right, just know that. Those 15s are mine, Bob. Just back off of them. So what else we got for today, William? Anything? Have I blown your mind enough?
Please get me out of here.
You don't mean that. Let me ask you one more question.
Talk to me.
It's not really like free agency related, but yesterday I had put something on my Twitter page, and I was just like, I'm sick of people just thinking that free agency is like the only way Brad Holmes is going to add talent. And, we still have the draft. So let me ask you a question. When you're building a team, would you rather do it through free agency or through the draft? Keyword being building.
You know the answer to this.
I know. I want to hear you say it.
Yeah, there's only one answer. You build football teams through the NFL draft, period. You can't even. So let's just talk about economics. And I'll try not to be long-winded. Let's just talk about economics. If I'm signing you in free agency, we've now negotiated a wage that is outside of the scope of rookie deals. So I'm spending more money right out of the gate, right? You're a veteran that proved worthy of me offering you a contract, and you're going to want fair pay for it. Problems as far as building a team and economics on the books, right? Where if I get a rookie in, like just off the top of my head spitballing, quarterbacks get paid astronomical amounts of money. If I get a Hendon Hooker in this building, I pay you $1 million, and you can either be happy or be sad, but you're getting that $1 million on your rookie deal. Ball out, you'll get millions of dollars, tens of millions of dollars. But until then, it makes things way easier on the books, man. So if that's a path that you can continue down, it just makes sense, man. And I started digging into these contracts and how Brad Holmes is staggering these contracts and some of the things that he's doing. And there's clusters of guys, man, that are going to be lined up to get paid. And I think that I'm starting to understand the path of what he's doing and how it's going to fold together. It's longer than a couple of minutes, so I'm not going to give the sauce on it, but maybe we'll do a show about it and talk about it. But I'm kind of starting to track what Brad's doing with the salary cap and how he's going to pay his guys. And he can't do it if he's signing guys for 20, 30, 40 million in free agency. So, Steve, are you with me in the path being through the draft, or are these people swaying you on Twitter and getting you to come on over to the free agency realm?
William, I'm a stubborn old hillbilly. You ain't going to sway me on Twitter. I'll tell you that right. It's 100% through the draft right now. And I say this because one of the comments, and I don't even want, I won't say the guy's name, but he was mentioning the Eagles, and he said, the Eagles added Saquon Barkley when they went on a Super Bowl run, and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers added Tom Brady, and they won a Super Bowl. And I'm sitting here thinking, this free agency does not have generational talent like a Saquon Barkley or a Tom Brady. Who was the premier quarterback in free agency this year? Daniel Jones, Sam Darnold. Like somehow they got Sam Darnold got $100 million contract. Blows my mind. Who was the premier running back? Aaron Jones from the Minnesota Vikings. Like we're talking this. Free agency is kind of it's a year by year basis. Sometimes you have 5 or 6 studs in free agency. This free agency class, I'd say, was probably one of the weaker ones in recent memory. There's really not a lot of big monster names out there. And I'll say it again. Good teams don't let their best players hit free agency. It's the same thing Brad Holmes is doing. He's shoring up these contracts. You think Jahmyr Gibbs is going to hit free agency? Probably not. You think Aiden Hutchinson's going to hit free agency? Probably not. Penei Sewell signed last year. Jared Goff signed last year. Amon St. Brown signed last year. Teams keep their core players that they draft under contract. The Giants made a dumbass mistake letting Saquon Barkley go to the Eagles, and they paid for it. They had to watch a division rival pick him up and go on a Super Bowl run. You build through the draft. It's literally what every single person says. And I'm not just jumping on the train because everyone says it, but that's the one time where you're scouting, you're developing, you're saying, what can this guy do? I have 5 years with player X to get him into the starting rotation, depending on if he's a first rounder or not. So, I mean, you're taking a huge gamble, like you said, financially with proven players, and that's great. You prove yourself in the NFL. Those generational talents aren't in every single free agency. And this one I thought was one of the weaker classes. I think after Josh Sweat, the pass rushers are kind of, mid in my opinion. Like, I don't know. So I just wanted to address that. Like, I'm all for the draft, man. That's where teams are built. That's where Brad Holmes has built this team. You put up a graphic. Actually, it's still here. You put up this graphic yesterday that you use for high school coaching. We got our starting defense right here. Minus one position. All right. Now, what we did today was add some depth with a Roy Lopez, the kid from Indianapolis. Like, we just added some depth. In my opinion, we still need that other defensive end. There's still the draft. There's still free agency. We'll see. But you build your team through the draft. Every team knows that the NFL draft is the most important process in the offseason.
Agreed. No arguments here.
Anything else for tonight?
That's it, man. I'm excited, man. You already know, man. Get me to the NFL draft, man. But I'm still waiting on a couple more pieces from Brad Holmes, but it's nothing crazy, man. I'm talking like Pat O'Connor's. I'm talking more depth pieces, man. And then I still got I'm hanging my hat on a dream, man, that maybe we get Zadarius to agree to something cheap, man, something team friendly. But who knows, man? Zadarius, if you see this, man, hey, come on, man. We can hit these Pistons games. We can do our thing, man. Come on back, man. You know
we'll buy you a new Rasheed Wallace jersey. Maybe try to get it autographed for you if we can find a way. Stick around, hit that like button. We'll be back later with another show.
Peace.